Testing. There we go.
Very strange that I have a large nose, and I'll tell you why.
I guess you're privileged to have a big nose then, because you don't live in harsh conditions.
The habanero one? Holy fuck, dude. Woo! You know, maybe I've been treating this bike as some sort of parkour bike when really it's just a...
I once came face to face with a wild rhinoceros. That was pretty crazy.
I got stung by a bee once.
Welcome back to episode 50.
Oh my god.
We made it.
Woo! And now we gotta be really quiet because Oscar's trying to
fall asleep. So now let's put these away so we're not tempted. Mine fucking sucks.
It never
Rip
works.
This off and then...
Ooh.
Yeah, if you rip the paper off, it works. So now we don't do that
All right.
and accidentally wake up the baby.
Okay. Welcome back.
Here we go.
Welcome back.
Did you ever think we'd do 50 podcast episodes when we started?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
It came slower than I thought.
Yeah, well, we were on like a weekly roll for like 9 months or something, or like 8 months,
Yeah.
pretty much. With like
That just takes long. That's 50 weeks. I mean, that's almost a year.
Yeah, well then,
And
there
every
was.
week, you know? I don't think we missed that
How
many
many weeks
weeks.
are there in a year?
56. I
That's
think.
it.
I think so.
Oh,
Or 52.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is more than a year since we started though.
Yeah. Yeah.
50 episodes in like a year and a couple of months.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's crazy. Some podcasts have like 1,000.
I know. I was thinking that. Like Joe Rogan has what, like
He's 1,000.
1,500 or
something.
Yeah, it's insane.
He's ripping through them.
He does
Yeah.
like multiple a week.
Yeah.
We got a lot of coffee in here. It's gonna be a
Caffeine.
caffeine.
We got coffee. We got Red Bull.
Crazy episode.
Got half a liter Red Bulls.
We got crowns
some
and
reason.
everything because we're the kings.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Wait, first of all, this episode is made possible by our sponsors on Patreon.
Sweet. Thank you so much, guys. All right. This week, we're all caught up. I feel like we haven't kind of talked.
There's no more like stories we got to get through. Right?
No, there's no stories. There's no like Espen was on last week, so we just haven't talked since then. Obviously,
We need a therapy session.
I'm back in it. You know,
Here we go.
back in it.
Back in what?
Well, it just feels like back in work.
Yeah.
Work mode.
Yeah. All right. Because
Everything's normal again.
2 weeks ago, you'd only just
Come back a
come
little
back
bit
from Sweden,
Who went?
Norway rather.
Yeah, it's interesting how time is very different. I've noticed when I work, time seems to go so fucking fast. Like the days just fly. When I was in Norway, those 2 weeks felt like a month.
Does it
First
feel
couple
like-
days were like, oh my god,
Right.
I've been here forever.
But like you've been back exactly 2 weeks now in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Does that not feel like a substantial amount of time?
No,
Really? I feel
No.
like we've done a lot.
we've done a lot. Yeah,
I feel like you're definitely been here for a while now.
yeah.
Not in a bad way.
All right. Do you have anything good to start it off with? No
Well,
reminiscing. Straight to business.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the big thing that we're talking about.
What? The Office.
The Office.
Yeah.
The Burning Boat Office.
What about it?
I mean, we've been talking about it since the very first episode. Or at least the very first episode when we started YouTube. That was like the premise of what we wanted to make the channel about was the road to getting an office.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
And we're finally kind of talking about it a little more seriously, a little more realistically.
Yeah.
Starting to look more.
Well, we talked to a friend,
Yeah.
whose name rhymes with Schmespin, and it turns out that if we do some sort of half apartment where I would live, half office situation, although I don't know the tax implications on that, but I think it's beneficial because part of it would be a business cost.
I hadn't
It's
thought about
not
that until you mentioned it.
That expensive.
It's not.
It's not cheap. Certainly cheaper than living by myself and having a separate office. And in my head, because it all kind of came about when he said, I don't know whether he said he's moving out or whether he was saying, if I were to have to move out, I don't really know what the situation is, but him having said that and then just made me think like, oh, well, what does he pay for that room that we know?
And it's not bad.
It's not bad.
And especially
I thought
if
it was
you're
gonna
living
be
there
way
as
more.
well, then it's like, 50-50 kind of. So it's like half the cost.
Yeah. And, I think it's just also we've talked a lot about, or I keep on saying that I get kind of second wins on the weekends or stuff, and it would make more sense that the computers are at my place, I would say.
Definitely make more sense, yeah, for sure. But let's talk about like, it would be fun to talk about like what we want in the office.
What do you
like,
want?
Let's like go a little nutty and just whatever we want. Like obviously within limitations, but like realistically, what are you the most excited about office wise? You just mentioned the idea of, well, you'd be living there, so you could basically work
That'd be great.
nonstop, which is your fantasy.
Never ending. No, it's not nonstop. It's just that I get a second wind like late at night.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to work
not
on your
all
laptop.
weekend.
Yeah.
It's just there's parts where I'm like, oh, I would like to be doing this. I've thought about this. I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
And then usually I got to wait until.
Wait until Monday.
Yeah, and then it's like it's a whole thing. You write down what the things were that you wanted to do, but then you're in a different mindset, and sometimes it's nice just to tinker. Tinker.
I'm excited about being able to have more space for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, our office is an absolute bomb right now.
Yeah. And not the bomb. It's like
No.
a bombshell went off.
Yeah, it's just a big pile of equipment.
Doo-doo. Yeah.
And even when we tidy it, it's just kind of like, for example, this podcast.
Yeah.
Having just a table that's always, you got a little something on your lip there.
Thank you.
You still got it. Yeah.
Oh, that was not.
Okay. Having a table where the podcast stuff is just always out.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a little second to set all this up, obviously.
And put it down. I mean, it takes like 30 minutes.
It's
like
just
both sides.
efficiency, exactly.
Yeah, that's a big amount of time over the course of 50 episodes.
Yeah. I think that's super exciting. I'm excited that if I ever did take a girl back to my place,
It would look cool.
well, it wouldn't be a bunk bed. So I would be excited about that.
That's good.
Might look a little creepy that I'm living in some sort of dungeness basement.
We don't know
But
where
then
we're
make it
going
cozy.
yet. We don't know where we're going
I
yet.
put plants up and stuff,
Right. So we're thinking you would have like your own room.
Yeah, or even if not, I mean, it's just
Part of it would
combined space.
Yeah.
And as long as it's still us two with one employee or something.
Yeah, that was the
obviously
other thing
fine.
that's very exciting. For
Yeah.
me, is the idea of, I feel like they go hand in hand. New space. Well, that means there's also room physically for someone else
Yeah.
to join the crew. Because I mean, just this week, I feel like I haven't done anything because I've been doing small tasks.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff, it just takes a while.
It does.
And I feel like we can definitely use a third person. I feel like it's actually
We
starting.
could use like two more people.
Well, yeah, I know,
in
but I
terms
feel
of
like
time
it's
to
like
fill
we've
up.
passed the threshold
Yeah.
where it's not like like we could think of stuff for them to do and it would be
Yeah.
beneficial, but like I don't know about paying them, like how effective.
No, I
that would
think
actually
yeah,
be.
exactly.
I feel like it's starting to be like, well, I literally can't work on the video we're supposed to edit because of emails and updating the website. And
Yeah.
all this stuff.
A lot of small tasks.
Editing the podcast,
Yeah.
which you do.
Yeah.
Social media.
Efficiency, streamlining,
Growing the business.
business words.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I feel like then we can just, it'll be like even more real.
Yeah.
We have a company. It's
Yeah.
not just us.
I picture a couch.
A couch with a screening.
Yeah, I said
space,
a screening screen.
Either a projector or an actual TV.
Yeah.
Because the projectors are pretty good
Yeah.
nowadays, and it could be big.
I had this idea that there's
Phoebe's just showing.
She's telling us to be a little bit louder.
The swaddled baby that's asleep.
Said to be quieter.
I don't think so.
I think definitely.
Well,
Okay.
it's episode 50.
Be quieter. I had an idea that there would be a monitor that's always playing just random videos.
Yes.
Because
like
I wake
that.
up and I watch my
Inspirational videos.
just very random videos that can be pumped, and I just want them playing all day. And I want other people to feed their videos in so I can make fun of them, be like, who the fuck put this in here? But then also you can just plug in and watch something.
Yeah.
And the main stuff that inspires me is like, I don't know, fucking weird like musical performances and stuff. But it just
Or
gets
scenes
me
from
pumped.
movies or
Yeah,
music
scenes from
videos.
movies,
or
exactly.
just random
Anything.
stuff.
You know that list of YouTube videos that you have that you're like, I know this
I
group
need
of videos
something to
keeps
get
me
me
excited.
excited,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea. What about a place for the 8 boxes of DVDs
Yeah, put those on a shelf.
as like a little library?
Yeah. Be excited just to have a bookshelf.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
As in you could just go, you're working on a project, you want it to be like this, you just go over to the shelf. Oh, we have it on DVD. Boom.
Oh, we've got like, 2,000-3,000 still photographs of poster frames from films, of our own films. I would love to have those up, just completely covering a wall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds a little cluttered to me, but let's...
Wow. Just slammed my idea. I said anything's welcome.
Anything's welcome.
You wouldn't want to... We've talked so many times about hanging up the...
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like that idea.
I think it would look really clean. You don't just...
Yeah.
It would be like nice.
One wall that's
Yeah.
completely covered.
Not the whole thing.
Yeah.
You'd look like a lunatic.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Put red strings in between shit.
Oh,
People
no.
come in. And are like,
Like we're working on a very big project. What else we got? Okay, equipment storage. I mean, that's a big one.
yeah, it's just going to be more organized, more streamlined.
Yeah, which adds up. It adds up.
We can
especially
have
when we're-
meetings. We can
Yes.
actually, like, I think the feeling of like, no,
Yeah.
come over. We want you to come over.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
now it's always like, oh.
If it's absolutely
if
necessary.
if you must,
Yeah, exactly.
because it feels like
We're working in a closet.
what we are.
Literally. I know.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah. But it's like that, like you're faking it until you make it.
Mm.
Not that we're faking anything,
No.
but it's certainly not impressive to walk in.
Although I feel like people have responded quite well to very few people who
Yeah.
have come. They've always been like, oh, like that movie. Oh, this is cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're imagining to start out with, but I'm certainly starting to feel like definitely doesn't excite me as much as it used to.
No, or if we have a bigger client that we're
for
trying
sure.
to schmooze.
Yeah.
It'll be like,
people who've been here,
"Come
we've
over."
already worked with them.
Yeah,
and It's
yeah.
already like,
Exactly.
happening.
They know us.
It's not like the first time
Yeah,
meeting.
exactly.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
And then also being in a space where there's potentially other businesses working in the same area. Like the office is located
Yeah, exactly.
next to others.
Exactly. And then they know about us, and that
And
might
we
lead to
can-
something.
We can help them. They can help us. They
Exactly.
know someone. We know. Like,
It's
that
going to be
sounds good
great.
as well. Mm.
I'm so excited. And we're kind of planning in the next 4 months to figure that shit out.
Right, because
Would be nice.
Yeah, it's all happening.
It's all on the... Oh, you just turned red.
Oh no.
I'll let you know if it turns off.
Okay.
Low battery microphone. It's all on the up and up. Everything's good right now.
Yeah.
I'm expecting something horrendous to happen.
Why?
Life's too good.
No. We just updated the website.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't look that different to someone who isn't us.
Yeah.
But it feels very different to us.
Yeah, it's just making decisions, and it's like
It just looks better. There's just
always getting
little
into the heads of
things.
other people, you know?
Yeah.
The same with we're writing up some new contracts, and you're always like, oh, what is the best way to...
What's
you
the
know?
first video we want them to see? And
Yeah.
What's the second video we
Yeah.
want them to see?
Yeah.
And how big do we want it to play?
And what if the... Yeah.
Should there be reviews on the website?
So it's all been... I think we're pretty up to date now, eh? We're
Yeah,
waiting
it's
for one video to finish, and then
Oh, right.
everything should be...
A couple minor.
Or 2 videos to finish.
Yeah. We're still working on 2 videos.
3, I guess, with the time travel.
Oh, what's the third?
I was thinking that Souls one.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one's almost done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be good.
That's exciting.
That's all good. It's just I feel very proud when I see that work page. It's just
It's a lot of videos for a year.
Yeah, I can clearly remember when we had that first Dream Balloon video
Yeah.
up. And we had our promo video.
I actually can't remember. Is that all we had up?
We had one video.
Wow.
And it filled the whole page. But I remember being like, yes, this is so good. Like we have our video, it's real.
Yeah.
You know?
What was it on? Oh, was it already on the new website format?
Yeah.
So you'd go click on work, and there was just one video that popped up?
Our website used to be, we'd have the pictures that
Yeah.
we have now,
Yeah.
or that we just took off.
Yeah.
Actually, the ones on the beach with all of our
Yeah.
equipment, a little text,
Yeah.
and then our promo video, the one of us swimming around in the ocean. And then we have a work tab.
Oh, right,
And there
the
was
promo
a
video.
single video on the work tab. And
Classic.
now that video's at the bottom.
Yeah.
And there's like 15 videos on top of it.
That's crazy.
And it's just very satisfying to see them actually be getting better.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. It's like I see it and I know that at the time that was my best work.
Yeah.
And now this is
It's kind of interesting how you're always kind of playing catch up a little bit. Like I've noticed with, especially a longer project like Boris and Johan, I feel like I'm getting better as we're doing it.
So you
So
have
I
to
keep returning to the beginning. I'm like, but I'm better now.
right.
Like I understand this more.
Yeah.
Let me change this.
Yeah.
And by time, it almost feels like painting the Golden Gate Bridge, where by the time they finish painting it, they have to start at the beginning again because it takes like
Or cleaning
however many
windows
years
on a
to,
skyscraper.
Yeah,
They just
exactly.
go back
It's just a
to the top.
constant. Yeah.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah. Off of things going well, I just wanted to mention that everything in life is just going very well for me at the moment. And one thing that happened that I didn't bring up 2 podcasts ago, I guess, and this is a massive thing in my life and my mom's life, is that my mom finally got her divorce finalized.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
This.
And that was, for those people who don't know, my parents separated in, I want to say, 11th grade.
2011
Yeah.
or 2010.
And we're in 20, I think 2000, it was like a couple days before New Year's. So it's 2010.
2010.
And now it's 9 years later after that almost.
Jesus.
And it finally fucking the divorce went through.
Right.
And I just want to say how proud of my mom I am.
Yeah.
That's such a crazy thing. I've been thinking like it honestly didn't affect me very much in the past couple years, but just the idea of her, she just went divorce case after fucking case after case with this just total asshole and pushing through it. And even I was at some point like, how long do you go with that? Like, at what point do you throw in the towel and say, you know what? I'll just take whatever. I just want this to be done so I can live my life, so I can move on with my life, because there's all this stuff that you're not allowed to have a boyfriend. You're not allowed to live here. You're not allowed to do this. There was a lot of restraints on her life. And for her to just keep with it, keep doing it. And at the end of it now, it all paid off. And like, I honestly don't know how she did it. Just the idea, like, I get a lot of anxiety thinking about like when Kevin brought the parking tickets or something, and just something small where you're just involved in something and you don't know how it's going to turn out and yada yada. I think being involved in a court case anyways, I'm sure is a very stressful thing for any reason.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring that up.
Why did it take so long?
I think from what I understand is that my dad was not being very clear with his finances.
Okay.
So it was basically, I mean, the it kind of came down to, he owned a company. We had a family business that was a paint and like artist supply business in Frankfurt, a quite old business from Frankfurt, and everything was in his name, having come from that side of the family. And it was a trust thing that my mom simply trusted that, like, I guess in a similar way, if we made profit as a company, we would probably invest that back into the company. But technically, half of that profit that we invested is yours, which means if you are married to Phoebe, half of that is Phoebe's.
Right.
Right? But that never really gets put into Phoebe's name.
Right.
So then if you guys ever separated, it would be hoped that you would be ethical and say, well, she obviously has invested in the company and stuff over 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was just being a total dick about it.
Right.
There's nothing in my mom's name, technically. So I think that complicated a lot of things, and then just a lot of shady shit. He's just a fucking shady guy.
And then she didn't settle for bad deals.
Right, because it's also a thing. I mean, the way the court systems work is that you can kind of drain somebody out.
Right.
If you have more money than them, you can
starve
just
them
have
out.
something go on forever.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Jeez.
And you can just try to drown somebody. You know? And she had offers that she felt like weren't fair.
Weren't fair.
You know, and she would ask like, hey, do you think I should do this? And just have it be done with.
Ask you.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
What
start
would you say?
saying, I would have to ask her, because there was a lot of times she did ask. I think I was very adamant at the start.
Yeah.
But then it also became this thing of like, only because I think she deserves it. There is this other side where you're like, you just want it to be over with. Because you start to see that, like, even if you don't get what you deserve, you would still be happier probably being out of that fucking situation.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine wanting just to like be away from divorcing somebody, but there's still this connection that you have to deal with every day. You know, so I think for that, like mentally and psychologically and everything, I started feeling towards the end that maybe it would just be easier just to do, take a smaller settlement.
What do you call that? Like compromise?
Yeah, I guess.
There's a word.
Yeah.
But congratulations to
her.
everyone
To all of
involved.
us.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, she wrote an email to all her friends and kind of thanked everybody. And I think it was just a really nice moment. And it happened when I was in Norway, and I was just,
Yeah.
it was a very bizarre, it was like a chapter of life, you know, both mine, more hers, just closing, like it's done, which is a bizarre thought.
Right.
Because there was also all this shit where it was like, at the beginning, it was very much, I couldn't talk about anything.
I know.
Yeah, which is weird. Like anybody from FIS who knows me,
Yeah.
I kind of just disappeared.
Right.
There was a lot of like, just don't say
Well,
necessarily
even just
where we
with-
are,
with
blah, blah, blah.
me.
With you,
There's
with my
parts
friends,
on the
they'd be like,
podcast, we had to suddenly go back and cut out parts where
Yeah.
you had said stuff, just, you know, normal, like
Right.
nothing. You're not saying anything.
and to defend my mom, she would usually go, oh, it's fine.
Right.
But the worst thing in my head was that like my dad would listen to it or something, some shit. It would be brought to the court case, and then it'd be like, oh, because Taylor ran his mouth, now there's this
Yeah.
piece of information that, you know. So you just are very much on eggshells, and there's
Yeah.
this whole thing of like, you know, don't talk about where she's living and blah, blah, blah. And like your mom would ask like, oh, where's Lynn?
I know.
And I'd be like, ugh. It's really awkward.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's such a strange situation to be in.
I remember once there was something insignificant piece of information that probably was significant to the court case
Yeah.
that was in the podcast that I was editing, that I was supposed to have taken out, that I forgot to take out.
Oh, yeah.
And you wrote me, and I just had that feeling of like having like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing happened.
No, it was fine. I mean, I asked her, and
But,
she
but
said
I
it was fine.
was like that moment of like, oh, I
It
remember you
is.
told me, remember to take that out. And I forgot.
And just that shit for the longest time, you know. And it's like it's a movie. I mean, that whole story is insane.
Yeah.
You know.
Sounds crazy.
So anyways, I think it's also kind of put her in a new, because you see somebody who's just getting beaten down in the ring, right? And you start to just get this natural, like, you just feel sorry for them. And I think people don't always want to be felt sorry for. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily want you to feel sorry for me, but if you see that, you just start to see me in that way. And it's a little bit like belittling maybe and stuff, just to see somebody in that position. And now I just feel like my view towards her has changed a lot after that in a very strange way, where I was like, damn,
Right.
that's my mom.
Yeah. I
Fuck
can see
yeah,
that.
you know? And it
Yeah.
took like 9 years to come around and all that. It's very, very nice.
There's a nice segue into a different topic
Yeah.
because I think we, being in a relationship, being business
Oh,
partners,
yes.
need to at some point, like very soon, sit down,
Yeah.
come up with a set of legally binding rules,
Yeah.
a contract
Yeah.
in which things like that
Shit
are
goes
discussed
off.
and
Yeah.
are agreed upon before it happens. You know, when everything's going well, we're on the same team. Not in like anticipation of
No,
anything
I
ever
see-
happening.
I
But
totally
it,
agree.
It makes a lot of sense.
I totally agree. I think
Like,
I've
what
seen
if
too many
this-
times money corrupt people,
Yeah,
and I think it's going to corrupt you in the end. I'm kidding.
me.
But no, I think it's things need to be talked about. And
So how do we do that? What do we do? Do we just do it? Like sit down and just talk about it?
Yeah, well, we need somebody to ask us the questions. I don't even know what questions to ask.
We do a podcast episode because I feel like it'd be fucking interesting.
Yeah, we should get a lawyer on here.
I'll be our guest.
Yeah.
So
we don't even tell them. We just secretly record.
No. We blur them or something. I don't know. Why would they? I don't know.
Or we just ask them.
Yeah.
No, I think there are a few things that have come up that I think
a few things have come up recently where it was like, well, what would we do?
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's no obvious like, oh, well, we just agree on it and then that's that.
Yeah.
It's like, different.
I think there was one example of like, what if a company contacted us, wanted a video, and one of us said, morally, I don't want to work with this company.
Right.
And another person said, well, I don't have that same particular moral.
Right.
What would you do in that situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting.
Toughie.
It is, although, yeah. I mean, I like to think that we would just figure it out.
Exactly.
You know, I
think we would with that.
Yeah.
But it's still nice to have talked about it beforehand and know that there is a process that would ensue.
I agree, because it's also probably very different once it actually happens.
For sure.
You know,
yeah,
somebody offers you a lot of money. Suddenly you're like, oh, never mind. So something in writing, I think, would be good.
It forces you to
or
think
just what
about
is the
it
process?
seriously.
Let's say there is a situation where somebody wants to make a video.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be a like, oh, fuck, you know, it's just like, oh, well, we know exactly what the process for that is.
And we've already talked about
This is what you can go through. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we did talk about it kind of after we had the conversation. We talked about it the day after.
Yeah.
And it was like, actually, there's already something that we could easily kind of, well, is there a way to still work with the company?
Right.
But promote something that we think is good.
Right.
Without promoting the thing that one of us strongly feels is morally wrong.
Yeah.
And the other one only feels is slightly morally wrong.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, there's the, if you die, you know,
what happens?
What part would go to Phoebe? How would that all go?
Or if you turn out to be
if I die,
serial killer.
I want my whole business going to Arlo. As always, along with all my stuff.
Okay. We'll make sure to get that.
It's on record. And you're not allowed to help him with it. You literally just plomp it in front of him, and you go, that's yours now.
I'll just go. That'll be a good episode. We should do that.
That would be a good one. Once
we keep saying we should do it.
Yeah, but we got to get a lawyer. We got to pay for a lawyer. We'll put him on an hourly rate. Sit down. Let's go.
Maybe this first step should be figuring out. Okay,
but I like that.
We do need a lawyer.
Maybe I should also. You know, I had talked about it to Lily's sister's husband.
Right.
I remember. I should just email him, and I think he said he could just send me some of the.
My dad used to be a lawyer.
Basic question, dude. Your dad was a freaking judge, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, I take it back.
Prosecutor or
Oh, so he was a lawyer.
Defense lawyer.
Defense lawyer. Well, he could have been either or he's. I am only defend people.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm being confused.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, why the fuck don't we talk to him? Get him on the podcast.
Yeah. He's not here, but we could.
That'd be interesting. Put it on the docket. I also had Office on here. I have a kind of a random thing.
Sure. I mean, I've got more business stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's
mine's
totally random.
It's completely
Let's stay
random.
on the business for a little bit. We were talking about, well, when you got back from your trip.
Yeah.
We both had gone.
Or actually, do you want to start the camera again?
Sure. After you got back from your trip, we had both made lists separately of like everything we wanted to like do with the business, everything from small things.
Oh, yeah.
We should put reviews on the website.
Yeah. Check it off.
We should get an office.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of stuff. And one of the things was just work a little bit more on the branding of side of things. So like starting the Instagram account up again.
Yeah.
And updating the website. And we've gone through all those things,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm making it sound like it's a big topic, but one fun thing was that we were talking about using the Burnmobile, the Christiania bike, as our little mascot, and pimping that thing out so it doesn't get stolen again.
Yeah.
With some like a paint workshop.
Yeah.
Putting our details on it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, and we didn't reach any conclusions about what to put on the bike. Like, how do we?
I thought we were
design
both
it?
gonna draw a logo, and then we were gonna see who's more retarded.
I think the closest thing we got to deciding what to do was we each get a half.
Yeah.
And we don't get to see what the other person's doing until the end. And then on top of both halves, we stencil, our website or whatever.
Oh, nice.
So
that's cool.
That could be kind of cool.
I like that.
And we're talking about doing a winter collection to the Burning Boat merch store.
Yeah.
Got some designs in mind.
Yeah.
We're working on that at the moment.
Yeah.
Seeing what to do with that. I really like the idea of having that on our website.
The merch.
It's just a store.
Yeah.
I have no idea
that'll be
how many people would be interested in buying it, but I mean, from the first time, you're wearing the OG.
OG.
I had a couple of people who were like, "Where can I get it?" And we just didn't have any, so we're doing it again.
Yeah, because we did it kind of, and I think it's the right way to do it. We're trying to have a little bit more control, which means you can't just go on an online store and be like, "Here's my merch. It's a sweatshirt that everybody else has with my name printed on it."
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit, I think we want a little bit more control.
Yeah, we want to get like nice quality stuff.
Nice quality stuff and it's very limiting. I mean, even this one, it's like, okay, there's a square you can,
Yeah, like we want to be able to design the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not that we want to put stuff on the whole thing, but we want the option.
Yeah.
God damn it.
God damn it.
And we want something that's organic, ethically produced,
yeah,
nice quality,
merino
so that you
wool.
get something, because like the stuff that we've been given from companies to wear, so we get a surprising amount of merch from other companies that we work with.
Yeah.
The stuff that I wear is the stuff that's good quality.
Yeah,
I don't wear the other stuff,
which is one out of them. I won't say who,
but you know who you are.
There's one, and yeah.
It's just nice.
It's just nice. It makes you want to wear it.
I look forward to
which
that
is
being
why
on
we did the
top of
sweatshirts in the first place.
T-shirt pile. Or
yeah.
Is it a T-shirt? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
So that's happening.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very excited for that collection.
Yeah.
We should do a fashion show.
We should. I really like the idea of getting a handful of them done.
Yeah.
So that we can get them modeled for the website.
Yeah.
And take some photos of them.
Yeah. Sure.
So that it's not just like a boring.
Yeah.
I want some
Yeah.
I want you to be like wearing it.
Yeah.
Cool
well, I think this round will still be, we'll still be within, and then we'll move up as we.
Oh yeah, but it can still be put.
Yeah, we can still model them.
On you.
Nicholas.
On Nicholas. Yeah, we can get
a
Nicholas.
freaking model.
That's true.
Do
that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I just want more clothes. I like the clothes. I like this sweatshirt. It's my favorite sweatshirt. Samesies. Sound. Did we ever talk about sound mix for Borsnian before I left? For the Kungsleden? Was that ever brought up?
Yeah.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you wondering, sound mix has been fixed. We went through it today. Great job, Bennett. You killed it. I was a little bit worried the first time when sound mix came back. And have we talked about this?
Yeah.
Basically, there was a mix-up. There was a mix-up between
programs,
exactly, which means all the sort of EQing, what would you call that in like layman's terms?
Effects.
They're just manipulating the sounds, making it sound better, or stylizing the sound effects, making something sound really deep, had disappeared when I sent it to my brother, aka the sound mixer, so that when he sent it back to me, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I was really like, oh no, he's terrible at this. We did all this work and he went in a totally different direction. And then after some troubleshooting, we figured out that none of our effects had made it to him. So he had just gotten the raw stuff. And very rightfully so, kind of, he had said, oh, I remember you guys saying you wanted it to sound like ultra realistic. right? When he was on set,
Right.
we had this idea, which we still have. I mean, we haven't gone crazy.
No.
But it's like, yeah, it sounds just bad.
Right.
You know, like someone's holding a, you know,
It just sounds like it was recorded.
like a whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. So I understood where that came from, but now, you know, a month and a couple weeks later, everything's okay thanks to you and him figuring that out while I was
Good.
on the walk.
Yeah, I was very nervous about that. I was like, God damn it. You cannot fuck this up.
It is
again.
nerve-wracking. Anything to do with that project now is nerve-wracking because it's so big at the moment.
It takes so
It's not
long
an easy
to do everything.
task to,
Just exporting those files.
well, welcome
takes
to
like
my life, yeah.
14 hours.
It's insane. And then you got to
You gotta
upload
do it
it
6 times.
And there's like, yeah, and everything's long. And if you want to watch it down once, it takes an hour and
Program doesn't
30 minutes.
work when you open it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I almost
Smashed the computer
freaked
a couple
out.
times.
when
Yeah,
you were
it does. It
I
brings you to that
literally went
point. Yeah. Especially there's one part where it always freezes. Or if you do all this work, and a lot of times you get to this point where you're working on the computer where you're literally doing like one action every, I don't fucking know, 2 minutes. That's what it feels like. So you're kind of watching something on the side and it just takes a very long time to like do it. And then it crashes. And like, oh my fucking God. It'll send you into a rage.
It's a long project.
It is. And I don't know if Premiere it was the right program to do it in. Not that I regret it, but I think for the next one I would stick to Avid. There's just been
that's
some
not
issues.
that's not what my thoughts been, but I've also never used Avid. I've just thought like we just need bigger computers. I don't feel like it's been an issue for me working on it.
I think it is. I think Premiere, because it down-reses stuff, but it's not super clear, like, you know, when you change it to quarter quality or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't always run faster all of a sudden, you know.
That's what
It's
I
still
mean.
gotta calculate,
that to
like,
me is
previous-
just a processing thing where you just need bigger computer, better computer to
Right, but like
process
an
all the
Avid,
stuff.
you just transcode it. So you just create new files that are like a tenth of the quality. Then you do the whole film in that. And at the end, you just link back to the original files. And even with Premiere now, I've been having a lot of issues, which I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that, is that a lot of the previews are like pixelated and stuff when I export them out every time. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like this one scene is always, you know, him in the woods, for example, always fucking so pixelated.
Yeah.
And I'll go back and I'll be like, full render preview, and they won't go back to the original clip. So now I'm like, do I have to re-import the clip and bring it? And it'll be fine. It's just extra work at the end of the day.
I just thought that Premiere was the industry standards still.
Definitely not.
No?
Never has been.
Huh.
No. Nine.
But a lot of big films are edited on that.
I think recently a couple have been edited,
Yeah. Okay, let me correct. Was becoming is what I meant.
Oh yeah. I think
Like it was it's getting better, and so people are starting to move over to that, and it's becoming the industry
I
standard.
wouldn't know. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no. I mean
Because there must be reasons. Was just my thinking.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it can probably handle it now. There's just a couple issues.
Yeah.
But
It is all. It'll work out.
yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
I've got one more topic
Let's go.
to hit real quick. I think one thing I've been missing in the recent months
Yeah.
have been our challenges that we were very consistent about kind of setting each other.
Yeah.
Where we would come up with like I want to read more. I'm going to challenge myself to do that for a certain amount of time, set some parameters, and then use you as an accountability partner and say, like, if I don't do that, then there's a consequence. I really want to do this.
And we always follow through on consequences.
Well, it's another story. But I've been missing that a little bit. And part of what made me want to start the blog again,
Oh, yeah.
for those of you who don't know, that's something I'm interested in doing. For those of you who don't know that we even have a blog, that's because we haven't updated that thing in over a year. We started the business with YouTube, podcast, blog. That's probably it. But the blog quickly faded into the abyss.
Yeah, it was. We were very frustrated with that, I remember. Not just the blog. It was just at some point, that's all we were doing.
Blogging?
No, blogging, YouTube, podcast.
Right. Well, it's because that was all we had to
I know.
do. So as soon as something else came in, the
Yeah.
blog went first. YouTube went second.
Yeah.
Podcast has stuck. Episode 50.
Yeah.
But I the other day randomly went and clicked on the blog and read one of the blog posts, and I was like, oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading that. It reminded me of that mindset I was in when I was writing it. It's a nice little, almost like a journal kind of, and I enjoyed the accountability of having to commit to a habit and then write about what happened.
Oh, yeah.
And so my idea was that I would start that up again.
Yeah.
And I would, in that way, challenge myself to commit to my things that I want to do more of.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks later, and I still haven't come out with a blog post. And it's just like, it's so hard to find the time to do it.
Yeah.
It is so hard, but I so want to do it. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I like it.
have you been missing the challenges that we've been setting each other? I know at one point you talked about setting yourself challenges without telling anybody, and that felt quite like satisfying a little bit.
I feel like something in my head did click. I want to say a couple weeks ago. There is a change in me.
There's a change.
Yeah. I feel a lot more like I make a decision in my head and I can remember that. I can remember the state of mind.
You can commit to it.
Yeah, a little bit, you know, which has been nice. So there hasn't been that, because I think I used to do those challenges just because I felt like
You couldn't do it anyway, any other way.
or I just wasn't like, yeah.
So like, what's an example? What's something where you just like something you wanted to do or not do or change that you feel like you just decided without having to make some game out of it, some challenge thing out of it, and you just did it?
I think like reading.
Yeah.
You know, I've been reading a lot now again, and that was just it was like I'll just do it, and then you get excited about it, and then you're like in a story, and then you do it because you're like, I want to fucking find out what happens.
do it.
I get excited, you know. Or I don't know. We had talked right when I got back a lot about confidence and stuff.
Yeah.
And having a point of view, kind of sticking to it, or not sticking to it, not being afraid of your own
Of saying it.
opinions.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I've implemented that a lot. I've been trying not to bullshit as much, like try to catch myself if I'm saying something that I have no idea about, you know. Yeah, stuff like that. Nothing too concrete. It all kind of feels in this like, I don't know, Taylor 3.0 or whatever. Little things, you know, and I've had a couple cigarettes here and there, you know, but it's a very conscious thing, which maybe talk to me in like 2 months. But I feel very in control all of a sudden, you know, which I feel like I haven't always felt, you know. I'm not having some sort of thought and then the immediate like monkey need to like do that thing just because I thought about it. I feel like there is thought and then decision and then I do it or I don't do it.
So like the cigarette.
Right.
You'd think about wanting to do it.
Right.
And then you'd reach a conclusion about that. And then
well, it'd be like if I have, let's say I have a cigarette one night and then I want another one.
The same night.
I won't just go and have another one. You know, I'll try to be like, no, you wanted that cigarette in that moment. It was a nice moment. Blah, blah, blah. You went outside. You listened to this song. It was a very, you know, it sounds stupid, but it's kind of how I need to think about it, I guess.
Okay.
You know, because I think also the thing is I don't know. There's a lot of shit I'm trying to figure out. And off the no bullshitting, you know, I should think about this more before I kind of speak too much about it.
That's fair enough.
But
maybe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe you, in the past year, set yourself a lot of like really high standards that you maybe weren't entirely sure about why you had set them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're maybe reaching the conclusion that you don't want to have those standards, but part of you was like clinging on to them a little bit, and then you're leaving some of them behind and just kind of allowing yourself to not, be this perfect person in these different ways.
Say that again?
What part of it?
All of it.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
What happened?
Sorry. I don't know. I blacked out.
That I'm saying that maybe in the past year,
Yeah.
that I'm like challenge on the coming off of the idea of talking about challenges.
Yeah.
That we were setting each other these like hardcore challenges. Like, I'm not gonna smoke for a year. I'm gonna run an Ironman. I'm gonna, also you've changed your diet. You said I want to eat a certain way.
Yeah.
And you maybe think you know why, as in I want to be more healthy, or whatever the reason.
You're saying
is.
the original reason why I did those things.
Yeah, why you said
right.
those things.
Yeah.
And then maybe slowly you start to question over that year. You start to question what those reasons were, or why you had them. What was the point of not smoking, for example?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why you did that.
Yeah.
And slowly you're maybe realizing that I don't want to necessarily have those standards, whatever they might have been at the time.
Yeah.
And you're
I think standards is
more.
the wrong word, but yeah.
But like, why did you stop smoking for a year then? Was it just to see if you could do it, or was it because you felt like there was something beneficial to be gained from doing that, and something that was harmful that you were stopping?
I think it's hard because I think your image of yourself or who you want to be is kind of ever changing. And I think I've talked a lot about it. I kind of see myself as a split person.
Yeah.
There's two sides to me, right? And I think I flip-flop. And now I think what I'm realizing is that there is a middle ground. It doesn't need to be 1 or 0. It doesn't need to be extreme or...
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like, I want to never smoke again, or I want to not smoke at all.
Right.
Versus I'll have a couple when I choose to.
Right, because otherwise it's like a... Don't hold me to this, obviously. I'm just thinking through this now.
Yeah, me too. I'm not trying to like catch you out either.
No, I think it's good. I think to me it's always something about like... It's like you can... Or I'm not perfect, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's pleasures in life that are bad for you, where I say the pleasure outweighs the bad. Like there's certain life pleasures that are like, it's life. It's like messy and dirty, and like life can be great, and there's this very hard to explain that I love that part of life.
Yeah.
And life to me isn't about leading the perfect life or being the healthiest person or having the best relationship. Like there's a lot in between that I enjoy in life as well. And I think that's the thing I'm realizing is like, it's not a bad thing. And just because I think what might stop me is me thinking like, oh, somebody wouldn't like me, or, I'm limiting something by, what's the way to say that? It's a tough one.
But I feel like you're getting at the actual core of it with the idea of there is something to be found in the messiness of not following every moral, every right thing, that there is room for the pleasure involved in those things.
Yeah, because I like that in other people. Do you know what I mean? When I see somebody who isn't perfect. Even like,
But no one
I just don't
is.
like the idea of even
But no
saying
one is.
perfect, because I wouldn't say, oh,
Right.
because this person is super healthy and works out 7 times a week, blah, 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 that they are somehow better than, because if you asked me, who am I attracted to in this category of, you know, oh, here's a couple girls, who are you attracted to? It wouldn't be the one who's like the most quote unquote
Right.
perfect, what we might think of as like having your shit together, you know?
I find it hard.
But it
to-
wouldn't also, I'm not saying I'm looking for problems or anything, but there's just a
Yeah.
certain quality of like enjoying life and yeah, enjoying, like I said, the messy parts of life, and somebody that is a little bit looser, and
No, it's all about how you feel at the end of the day.
yeah, and I'm saying that's what I like. And it's, instead of fighting it and being like, oh, I want to be this cyborgian, like, you know, my whole schedule's planned and my thing is, I have no problem with that, but I just don't think that's me. I think that's me thinking that's what other people would like.
Yeah, well, that's
You know?
obviously not the right reason to do something.
Yeah. Right. So I think out of that comes, but it's something obviously you got to be careful with, because
Well, yeah.
you don't want to go too far into the.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what you do in 3 months.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing. It's like even that is a dance that is just so human to like. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it a similar thing with the vegan thing, for example? This idea of like, I just don't want to have to care about doing the right thing in every single moment, and there is some kind of joy to be found in just doing what you want to do occasionally, and not necessarily thinking about what that means or what effect that has,
right? Because well,
or who thinks something about you because of that.
yeah. It's just, I think there's just a line for everybody. So, for example, if you want to have an environmental effect with the food that you eat, right? There's sort of like vegan, then you could probably go even further. You know, I'm sure there's things you could cut out that are just like, you could only eat local food so that nothing's shipped in. You could blah, blah, blah. You could, I'm sure there's a top echelon of like everything you could possibly do. And everyone kind of sets a line for themselves. And I still think I am doing a lot by the choices I eat. I just moved my line a little bit further down, maybe.
For
Because
the pleasure of it.
for the pleasure, purely for the pleasure.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Exactly.
getting at. Yeah, no, I can get that.
Yeah, because for me, life isn't cutting out all pleasures.
I can totally understand
Yeah.
that. What I can't get is when it becomes things about like, well, it's because it's cheaper, or it's because it's less healthy, or those things I find hard
I see.
to agree with or to understand even.
Right.
What I do get is that what you just said.
Right, and I felt maybe like I had cut out
Some pleasures.
a lot of pleasures in life, you know. And there's a whole host of pleasures. There's so many pleasures in life, but it's just, you know, there's something about, this is very hard to explain, but like having a cigarette with a really good friend at 1 a.m. and having a conversation. There's something like so oof about that. Or not even with a friend, like by yourself in that moment, you know?
I know.
And it's something, you know, we can almost go back to where does it come from? I remember going out very late at night, right after my parents had gotten separated. And there would be this feeling of going outside and having a cigarette and like, oh, like decompress and relax. And you're out there and you're just listening to like weird night noises and stuff, you know, and seeing some person walk away in the day and whatever. And it's like that. I love that, you know? But like I said, I'm being very conscious about it.
Yeah.
So just because it's not like I'm smoking or I'm not smoking, it's like just be aware of why you want to do that at that particular moment, and then make a decision on whether it's okay or not. Because I think you can kind of separate between, this is a nice moment, and here's my addiction kicking in a little bit.
Right.
Do you know?
So how do you make that distinction?
I think I just make it for myself.
Yeah,
trust
I know,
myself.
but how do you do it?
I don't know. It's a feeling. It's like a couple times when I've been doing it now, it's been right between. So we work, I come home, then I cook dinner, make dinner, I'm watching a couple videos on the computer, then I'll kind of have a moment where I'm like, everything's getting dark, and it kind of feels like, yeah, nice cigarette, and then I'll sit and I'll read for 2-3 hours, and I'll go to bed. And that's just a very nice, soothing thing, you know, because it also puts you in this, you go outside, it's a very change of atmosphere. You come back, the computer's off now. It's not like this weird transition of putting the computer down and opening the book then. It's a lot of like intricate little moments. I go outside, sometimes with no music, sometimes with music, with a very specific song in mind or something like, oh yeah, I really want to listen to this song. And it's just, you know.
They're
honestly,
like little. Honestly, I know what you're.
Yeah,
they're
exactly
like
little movie moments. You know.
I think I have a hard time imagining for myself the like moment of not just continuing to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a history of never being able to do that.
Me too.
So it's literally impossible for me to imagine it.
But
it
I
never
think
happened.
your consequences are a lot worse than mine.
Yes.
Right. So I think there's a certain sense of like, okay,
that's very
if
true.
it goes off the rails, it's not heroin.
Nope.
It's fucking tobacco. And you've quit before. You can quit again. You'll be embarrassed because you said you could do it, whatever. But there, you know.
It's a complicated thing, isn't it? It's complicated.
I guess, but it's like what you make of it. I just don't feel like it's that. Like the fact that I would bring it up, I think to me, because it's like an awkward thing to bring up after that time. I'm like, yeah, I feel comfortable with it. You know, I think that's the difference. I don't feel confident in that. I can't tell you because, like you said, if history tells us anything, it's going to repeat itself. But I feel comfortable with sort of, yeah.
So what about I really don't want to like. It's not me trying to
nail me,
get you or anything.
No.
I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the cheese thing.
The cheese thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're now vegetarian.
Yeah. I'm nothing. I am nobody.
Because you've talked about it a lot that we've had conversations about what you feel like would be what you feel like is ethical and what I feel like that is ethical, where we agree and slight nuances where we disagree.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like we have agreed on the vast majority of things.
Yeah. I still probably agree with you on a lot of stuff.
But you just don't act on certain
not on
things.
everything, no.
Right. And that's the part that I don't get.
What's not to get?
The agreeing with something being whatever it is. Let's in this case say morally unethical.
Yeah.
But not then acting on it and choosing to not do it or not participate in it, or
because there's a lot of things that I do that I know are morally unethical. Like I said, I think that's part of being human.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not an excuse. Like, oh, I'm human, so I don't, you know. Obviously, I do things that I believe in. I just don't think it's possible to do everything.
No, and I agree.
Nor would I want to, like I'm saying. There's a bit of ignorance is bliss on certain things, you know. I just won't think about that too much, although I know it's not a good thing, you know. Like coffee. I like coffee. I buy cheap coffee. Yeah. I know coffee probably doesn't come from a good situation. I just haven't really looked into it.
Yeah.
Although I have a feeling,
neither have I.
Yeah, but I have a feeling it's not great.
No.
You know.
That'd be interesting.
Or stuff with like palm oil in it.
Yeah.
You know. I know it's not good.
So there's just a lot of things that you then know aren't good, but you choose to not act on them.
Yeah.
But like you just pretend like you don't know them and then it doesn't affect you, or you convince yourself that I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No. I think there's just, I don't know if there's a good way to say it without it trying to be like justifying everything, but it's just, there's so much I just feel like I am doing, it's like a list of things in my life. As I live, I get better and better at, molding my life to be in alignment with my beliefs. But it's like, there's so much. Yeah. I can't do everything from one day to the next. Or I guess I could, but then again, it feels like cutting out, then you're like a monk who's sitting on a hill and is like, I'm not going to participate in anything because everything has a slightly negative.
No, and I agree with that. I think that's maybe why it's confusing me, because you were not doing it. So you've, in a way, like moved to whatever we're talking about. If there is a place where you could be completely everything sustainable, everything.
I don't think you could. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But you just said that. You continue to improve and keep moving in one direction.
Yeah, it's not an excuse to be
try
like,
to get better.
Fuck everything. You can't. Yeah.
But this was specifically an example of something where you were choosing not to eat these certain things.
Yeah.
Because of what you felt about it.
Yeah.
And then now you are.
Right.
So you've gone back. That's the part that I find hard to understand.
Well, I think that particular one I had said, it was just my eating habits.
Yeah.
They weren't good. I just wasn't eating enough, I thought.
Yeah.
And eating properly and I just wasn't excited about it. And then if that's affecting me and my health and not my health, sort of my well-being, my feeling good about myself and, about, whatever. And adding something that gets me excited to eat and gets me excited to cook more, I just felt like, for me personally, that was the right decision in that moment. I don't know.
So when you're
not the most ethical decision.
When you're using those products, you don't think about where it came from or how it was produced?
Not too much, no. No.
Yeah. And my head immediately goes to, well, like, all those reasons are very good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's got to be a way to make those meals exciting without using something like that we've talked about how it's produced.
Yeah, if you want to put the work in and stuff, and if you want to spend that time, I guess, doing that, I just kind of made the decision.
So it is like a convenience and a, I guess, pleasure, because you get excited about the food.
I mean, I don't think I even thought about it that much, to be honest. I just went to Norway and they had it available there. And I was eating it, not thinking about it. And I just was eating a lot more and felt a lot better and was more excited about food. And I said, well, let me do that when I get back.
Yeah, you were talking about it for a while before then as well. Like, when you came back, one of the things you were asking was like, is there a farmer's market? Because then you could go and you could get things that were at least not like factory produced.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you haven't found that, but you're still using those products.
Yeah.
So like, how do you decide to make?
Because I value my own, again, well-being, whatever that means, over that, I guess, is the answer,
And you're not interested in thinking of an alternative?
No, I am. I think like I said, it's, okay, well, I make that decision, and now moving forward, I do want to go to farmers markets, and I do want to figure all that out. But yeah, I guess it doesn't happen from one day to the next, and I need to put the effort in. I haven't really put the effort in,
Yeah.
I think I've been focusing on other things. It's back to that thing kind of like, what are the priorities in your life? And I think in the past 2 weeks, I guess that just really wasn't a priority.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But no, I do get it. I mean, obviously, I don't necessarily agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I understand it a little bit more if it's coming. I mean, you clearly seem to be saying that you just aren't choosing to think about it so much.
I'm not choosing. I'm just not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, we've seen like videos of stuff and how it's like how how those animals are.
Yeah, but again, there's so many things.
Yeah,
I don't know why that would affect me more than seeing a war somewhere and not doing anything about it either. I guess one is just not acting, and one is actually doing something.
Yeah,
there's a difference. Or
and like with the coffee, I feel like if you showed me that I hate to say like, oh, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I can't help it in this example say that, but if you showed me that the coffee that I buy, show me a video of the farm or the plantation where that's produced and how the humans are treated there.
Yeah.
I would stop buying it, and I would not, because I couldn't. I feel like I couldn't do that because I saw what is happening there, and that there is a big difference between actually not knowing whether or not you're choosing to avoid the information on purpose because you think there might be something wrong there, and having actually seen it and been confronted with the reality, and 100% that there's something wrong happening there.
Yeah.
There is a difference. I mean, it's a small one, but I think it's an important one.
Yeah.
Like the first time I talked to my family about veganism.
Yeah.
It is totally for me, was a moment of being able to, were you aware of any of this? Because I wasn't at all.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of as soon as that has passed and now you are aware of it, then I feel like, well, now you know. Now you really have to either completely own the fact that you are choosing not to think about it, or do something about it. And it's hard to now say like, well, I don't know. And I'm not saying you're doing that, because I feel like you are saying, I'm just choosing not to think about it, which is the part that I get. But I've just been, for me, I've been recently, I don't know if struggling is the right word, but like thinking a lot about how I feel super uncomfortable. I've become so uncomfortable about talking about like veganism recently that I just won't even mention it I just don't say anything anymore to anyone. And I've been like, but why?
Do you think that's...
Why am I not... I really feel strongly about it. And everything that when I get into it and I research a little bit, or I come across a piece of content, it just reaffirms why I'm doing it and why I find it important. And I'm like, why don't I just, in the vein of, we'll have the uncomfortable conversation because I feel like it's important. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to do in this moment. And then I kind of want to keep doing a little bit more with, other people in my life as well. It's just not like I say it once, for example, to my family, like I think this is important. These are the reasons why. If you don't, in that moment, suddenly become vegan, then, okay, well, I'm never going to mention it again.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe there's room for a little bit more of a continuous conversation, and I feel like it's okay to keep reminding people maybe of what they're doing, or what they're choosing not to do, or what they're choosing to not think about, and that maybe that's not necessarily the right thing. I'm not sure.
I don't disagree at all, but I also wouldn't want to. I wouldn't surround myself with people who are constantly pointing out flaws in my life.
And that's also, why I think I kind of had to,
because I also
reel it in a little bit, is because that's just fucking annoying to be around constantly, and it cannot be constantly. But I feel like part of me had just decided not to speak about it.
Right.
And I feel like that's wrong, to not talk about something that I think is important.
Yeah. But I think I assume that everyone is doing their own, it's very hard to know what people are doing. So I always feel like if I can talk about things, but I can't really expect anyone to do the thing that I'm doing, because somebody might have different, like when I went on the Kungsleden, I think there was a good example of, let's say there's two people who care about the environment. Mm-hmm. And on that ride to the Kungsleden, I was eating plant-based. Mm-hmm. And then there was two people who weren't eating plant-based, and I had gotten into the conversation with them, blah, 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 blah. And then they were the ones who brought up the environment and were like, oh, yeah, we didn't fly here. We took the train, which is way longer for us, but we didn't want to fly. But they're eating, So obviously they could do better. Right. But everyone is, not everyone is doing something, but I think people are doing stuff, and it's hard to expect everyone to live by your own standards.
That I agree with, but I agree everyone could get better. I think that's the most important thing. So the fact that someone chooses not to fly and take the train to help the environment does not suddenly, if there's someone who could decide what's someone is allowed to do, and I thought that was your foot, they could still do better.
But you can always do better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point, right?
Right.
So it doesn't justify, I do this one thing, so then I'm allowed to do this other thing.
No, but I don't think that's what I'm saying. It's not like I'm doing this so I can do that.
No.
I'm just saying, hey, I am doing this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Right. That's great. That's good. That's great.
Right.
But like, what about this other thing that you're not doing?
Sure.
That's I guess what I'm saying.
And I think that's a fair, yeah. But then it comes back to priorities, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can only prioritize so many things in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit more empathetic towards the whole situation. And then I'm sure that'll be a good quote when the earth burns up in 50 years.
Yeah, I think that's what it kind of comes down to as well for me with this whole vegan thing, is that it is it's such a big fucking issue.
Yeah.
It's not as horrible as it sounds. It's not one isolated incident of humans not being treated ethically in the production of a product. That's horrible in its own way.
Right.
But it doesn't affect the entire world. Whereas harming the environment, it does.
Right.
It does affect the whole world. So
you think that's worse?
In a weird hierarchy, it is more of an urgent issue, pressing issue.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to answer that.
But again, it doesn't like, just because that happens to be a bigger issue doesn't mean that isn't also an issue and shouldn't also be. You know, I feel like there's this responsibility of, once you know about something, it's now your responsibility.
Right.
What you choose to do with it is up to you, but it is, you know about it now. It's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And you choose whether or not to do something, and you can justify all you want why you're not, because you might be doing all these other things, but in the end you're not doing that for reasons that I'm sure the people who are being affected by that would find, silly.
Yeah. But do you not feel like you justify anything? Like, if you know about something, you will every time.
I think there's definitely a threshold where it has to pass.
Right.
It's not, I don't look at everything as either being 100% good or 100% bad. I think there are a few things that are way worse than other things.
Yeah.
But the palm oil thing is a good example, because that is also a huge issue.
Massive.
That
has to do with the environment.
It has to do with the environment, but also has to do with animals as well, which is another important one for me, because they'd kill a bunch of animals by producing that product.
Yeah. Have you seen those farms? It's like,
but that was one that I had to kind of face a couple of times, that I still bought a pack of Oreos that has palm oil in it, and then
or the roasted onions, or peanut butter, or
but now there are no products that I have bought on purpose that use that, and now I do look at, and I don't buy Oreos anymore, and I don't buy. If I in the moment look at the label and I see palm oil, I don't buy it anymore. But that was something that took a little bit more than. Well, the same with veganism, because I knew about veganism, for a while before I became vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just one day something confronted me more than anything else had before, and I made the decision to act on it.
Yeah.
And same with the palm oil. There was a video about orangutans that I was like, okay, well, now I just can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I now don't do that.
Right. That is good.
Yeah, I mean, I just trying to. I'm not saying that there's nothing I justify doing.
Yeah,
That
Because
there's nothing I don't justify not doing. But it's like that shouldn't matter what someone else does, what someone else is doing or not doing. I think it all matters about what you yourself do.
Exactly.
So like if someone else is doing all these things, that doesn't mean that you have to do them. But it also, in the same way, you see someone who's doing nothing for the environment doesn't.
But you don't know that, is what I'm saying.
Don't know what.
How do you know that they're not doing anything?
I'm saying if we somehow were able to know that, that shouldn't make you feel like, oh, well, then I only have to do a little bit because they're not doing very much. No. So why even start comparing what someone else is doing?
I'm not comparing. You were the one who's not you were the one who said, but I thought you were saying you didn't really understand how you could know about something.
Yeah.
And justify still doing it.
I still don't. I can't get into the mind. The.
Can I give an example?
Yeah.
I don't want to pick you apart.
No, do it.
But we've talked a lot about Arlo's food.
Yeah.
Right. So even I think if you just went on this year, who's killed more animals, me or you would come ahead.
Yeah.
By far.
If you look at it by the fact, that I'm the one providing that food for him.
You're buying it, are you not?
Well, yeah, but there's
you can't go to the store.
There's a massive difference because he well, I guess you could argue this point, but this is why is that he needs that and you don't.
Right.
That's why.
Do you believe that he needs it?
I'm honestly split on that.
Right. So just from I would say that is you justifying. That's what I would say. But it would be insane if there really wasn't any. I think it's such a, and again, I'm not saying it to now we can all just fuck and rape and do whatever we want because you can no, I'm just saying that I can empathize to a certain extent, or I guess that is my answer for how do you justify things, is that.
But being unsure about the science about whether or not my dog would be healthy from eating a food that is it's not very conclusive what I was able to find.
Oh, I see.
That's what I mean by I'm split. I'm not entirely convinced about how
that would affect him.
How that would affect him.
I see. All right. Well, that's a little different then.
Yeah, it's massively different.
Yeah. But still.
Well, yeah, okay. I guess you're comparing the health of my pet with you being excited about a meal.
I didn't know that about your pet. The last time I heard you talk about it, you said that it was something that you guys had looked into, and yeah, it does seem that.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, it seems like it's possible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, and I that's true. That's not something you're remembering incorrectly.
Gotcha.
And but isn't that?
I don't like even bringing it up because it feels like now I'm trying to get you or something as well.
No, but it's fair because I do feel like you have a strong reaction to pointing out something that you don't act on. That's something that you do that you justify. So it's only fair that you can point back and say, well, you justify doing this.
Yeah, or just to make you understand how I justify. If you're saying you don't understand how people can justify something, even though they know about it.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just trying to say,
but
well,
I know
obviously,
but I know what the justification is in your case.
Extent.
That's the difference. I know that your justification is that it's convenient and that it tastes better. Versus what I.
No, I said it's the well-being thing, whatever that means.
So you're arguing the health then?
What health?
That it's healthier.
No, well-being. That's what I meant. It's more like me just feeling good.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna always prioritize me feeling good at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I would say that doesn't measure up to someone's health or an animal's health.
Right.
Those are different justifications.
Right.
And that.
But I think we have different. it's almost like and I'm not usually like this. I am quite a pessimistic person at times. But like I said, I think I do see. It's like if I looked at someone, and obviously we don't have the same starting morals or like how much we feel about this, but if I saw someone go vegetarian or be vegetarian or limit their intake of meat even to like 1 day a week or something, I'd be like, nice.
Same.
Right. Okay. I guess that's where I'm coming from. Is that it's the
Yeah, but you can still do more. It's like I wouldn't be like that's done.
I agree, but I don't really know.
Later on, I'd be like, well, did you know that like this is this and this is that and this is
Oh God, yeah.
And like that too and this too and there's a lot. But it's also like
but oof. I guess it is priorities. I would have to say I just don't want to think about it that much, and because there's a lot of things that are bummers in life, and I'm like it's very respectful that you do that. I guess I need to defend my position, or I feel the need to defend my position a little bit.
But do you find it hard to defend?
No, not really. It just sounds, when I say it, compared to you, it sounds like I'm a bit of an asshole or like a moral, like I don't care about these things. Whereas to me, it feels more like it's.
But you do care.
Yeah, obviously not as much as you, but I do care. Yeah. But I also can say that I don't care about, certain things. I think I am aware that maybe you say you don't know about a lot of things that, as soon as you find out, then you would. I feel like I can't say that because I do know a lot. I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm just saying I know about a lot of things that I know I haven't acted upon. I can't make that claim, I guess.
Obviously also things you have to take into consideration about like, well, what effect could you actually have on the thing that you now know about? So for example, like a war going on in a different country that isn't, it is removed from you other than you see it happening in the news.
Yeah.
What effect and how much do you have to do to have an effect for it to, do you get where I'm going? That
like to what extent is it your responsibility?
Well, how much can you do? That I'm not saying definitely there's a lot you could do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine that would be something that would take up a significant amount of your time for it to be something that had an impact and something that had an effect that was even remotely measurable. I'm talking about me and you here.
Okay.
Like we see a war in a different country.
Yeah.
What would we be able to do other than maybe donate some money that we don't have?
Make a documentary.
That's a huge amount of time commitment that we suddenly have to. That's what I'm getting at. It's a big deal.
It's priorities.
Right, but it's a huge thing we'd have to do.
Right, but on one hand, somebody might be saying, why are you worrying about this thing 50 years from now? There's females and kids and people dying right now, right? So I'm just saying, let me
finish the point.
It's just the person's.
Let me finish the point, because I'm saying that's a time commitment that we'd have to commit to be able to make a difference there.
I see, yeah.
We would have to not do other things to do that. We would not be able to make my movie. We'd have to make a documentary about the war going on for it to have an effect. There's things we'd have to remove from our life that are currently priorities in order to do that and have an effect and make a difference. And people do, right?
Yeah.
That's their life. That's what they care about. That's what they do.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have something like consuming animal products that requires, I would say, virtually zero time to remove from your life.
Right.
You can do it and it doesn't take away anything else other than maybe convenience and taste.
Yeah.
And that makes it something that it just is different to know about it and to not do something about it, because it doesn't take away other priorities.
Yeah.
Except for taste and comfort or things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is. Yeah, I feel like that's the first time I've kind of phrased that a little bit like I actually am thinking it in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's something that doesn't take anything
effort extra, really. Yeah, I mean, I guess the initial effort of figuring out what you do instead, and realizing that there are alternatives to a lot of the things that you probably think you will be missing out on.
Yeah.
There are definitely things you can't enjoy anymore. But I feel like, they just don't weigh up. But time-wise, it's like you can still do everything else you're doing. It's not like you suddenly have to dedicate your life to being an activist and like go around making the documentaries and protesting on the streets.
That's a
and
fair
stuff.
point.
And that
Yeah.
it's just something you straight away can do, and it changes. It has a massive impact straight away.
Yeah.
Measurable impact, at least.
Yeah.
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 So that, I guess that's why you're obviously you can't do everything. There are all these things that are wrong in the world. Things that some people have made their priority. This is what I'm going to do.
I think everyone has priorities.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe that.
Priorities. But I think that there are certain things that that everyone can join in on because it doesn't require a huge amount of effort to be able to do those things.
Right, but then again, I would say
like not using plastic as much, or not consuming animal products, and not throwing trash on the streets. It's like it doesn't take. Just don't do it. Just don't do something else.
Yeah, but it is
different. Does there have to be a but?
No, there doesn't have to be a but. We can end it there. I think I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But it is in no way like a. I don't think you're a bad person or are doing something wrong, or I don't know. I just feel
makes sense. You're saying you think I could do more.
I think
quite easily.
Everyone could do more.
I see. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, that's the whole point. And I think specifically with this situation, what I found difficult was that it was something that you were already doing. So you were already doing the next thing.
Yeah.
Not consuming these certain things.
Yeah.
And then change that. And that I struggled to but you were already doing it. And I know you've said your reasons, and I'm thinking of them now, and I can I've made a lot of, not everything is logical all the time, and I get that.
Yeah, it's not a decision on. Yeah.
Like me choosing to eat Oreos once when I knew that it said palm oil on it after I watched a thing about palm oil and how horrible it was.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I can't stop doing it change it the next time or the next time. That's still an option for everyone.
Yeah.
And they're relatively easy things to do. And this is just not talking to you. This is just talking out loud now.
But again, where do you I should stop saying but.
Yeah.
And in addition to that thought, like I said with that line, even with veganism, I think maybe there will be a new word someday that is veganism, let's say plus only local foods. Right, and it would be called
like a new thing,
veganism or whatever,
Well, there's fruitarians or whatever you call it, or some people that only eat fruits and vegetables that have already fallen off of the tree or something.
Right. So do you say, obviously, eating local, you could still eat a healthy, balanced diet, and you wouldn't have to ship in food, which I'm sure is a massive.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So would you then say, well, you've decided to place your line here, but only eating local food is also just cutting things out of your life. It's not extra work besides the initial work of just.
Right. No. Right. So that should be, I guess, the next.
Do you feel a need then that's now where you're going to go that I brought that up? Or do you say, okay, well, I am already vegan.
No,
you know what? I'm working on other things right now.
No, I would say that you've talked a lot about, food being shipped in.
Right.
And there are certain things that I've looked at and been Like I could start to move in that direction of buying more food that are actually produced in Denmark, like tomatoes.
Right.
One is from, I don't know where, the other one's from Denmark.
Or like bananas. There's no bananas coming from.
Right. Yeah. So I would say that's something I'm not going to be like, well, that's not what I do because I'm already doing enough.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'll expect that.
Well,
No.
moving in that direction.
Fair enough.
But I think it's an interesting one because there's also certain foods that when you eat vegan, you like talking about alternatives and being able to get certain things that you now need more of that you can't just get. Like if we were to only eat carrots and potatoes.
Right. Denmark would be a tough country to.
Yeah, you need to really, that would actually, I think it would start to move into the territory of, well, now there's just becoming a lot more effort involved in having to sustain that diet by I guess limiting yourself to that. Again, then the it's not such a straight up like here you can just eliminate these certain foods and have an effect on the environment, on animal welfare. You start to get further into it, I think the effect versus effort start to kind of move up and down a little bit, which doesn't justify doing it, but I think it might explain why it becomes harder to keep. Each new step was like more effort involved.
No, really. Again, you just figure it out. If it's here, are the local foods I can eat. I need potassium. There's probably a different way to get it than bananas, or whatever. Something that's a little bit closer. Here are the foods I can now eat. Bang. These ones are shipped via trucks, but at least it's not from some, I don't know, cross country.
But then if to go a step further, then suddenly you'd have to go and you have to pick them yourself. Because
right.
That's more effort is what I'm getting at.
Right, there's a line, right? And everybody can kind of...
Yeah, but the effort increases.
But not just going to local foods. You took it to the next step of picking fruits.
Right,
yeah, that would be more...
local foods is...
It's just cutting out stuff.
Okay,
and a little bit of research in it originally, like you said, with veganism.
Cutting out stuff only, yeah. Right.
And limiting the... what was I going to say? Oh, maybe this all ties back nicely to me saying the... Generally in life, I like the idea of having an impulse and having that sort of middle ground between like doing it and like you think about it for a second before you act, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe other people do that. I feel like a lot of times I'm just thought act or like impulse act.
Well, I think that's
and afterwards
accurate.
I'm like, whoa.
I think a lot of people do that.
Right.
It's pretty normal.
That it's the same with... I should say with the cheese, if you ask me like, oh, are you thinking about it? I think I do like value it. It is like that's a special thing that I bought this cheese, especially after having not bought it for so long.
Why is it special?
Because it's like a treat a little bit. I'm not buying it.
Just because it's
every
rare,
day.
You don't have it often. Just because you don't have it often.
Yeah, it's just something that's like, that's nice to have.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, gummy bears or something. It's like,
right. It's a different thing.
Something to treat myself. It's a treat. And I think that is kind of how I want to live my life in terms of like the middle ground, It's like, I don't think I want to abstain from everything, including, like I was saying, life's pleasures and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I want to find a way to, when I do partake in something, that I do value it and I do like appreciate the moment, because those things, those joys lose their value if you do them every day. And I think that's what I disagree with on any scale, where it's like everything gets shitty once everybody's consuming it every day. It doesn't matter what it is, It's just not. I just don't think it's a good... Like, I think certain things should be expensive. I keep on saying like sushi or something. Mm-hmm. It's like you should pay a shit ton for good sushi. We don't need 7-Eleven sushi so that everybody can fucking eat it for lunch, you know? And I think that's where it kind of goes off the rails, or like with factory farming or like all that stuff, you know? I think there's and maybe that's kind of the fundamental difference at the core of this argument, is that I'm saying a middle ground is good enough, and you're saying, well, why wouldn't you just go all the way?
No, why wouldn't you keep improving? Because you're saying that too.
Because what I'm saying is I enjoy some of those pleasures. So to me, it's not improving, although I guess
enjoy
on
them too.
Objective level, it's better for everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I know something that's bad for me is giving me pleasure. So, but I'm saying I like that.
Do you think you like it
I think
more
life,
than I do, for example?
No, I'm just saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think everybody could enjoy pleasures here and there.
Yeah, I enjoy plenty of things.
Right. So my expectation for people is not to cut everything out of their life. My expectation, who the fuck cares what my expectations are, but just saying.
I care.
I'm just saying my expectations are like, if you were to ask me, it's like limit certain things, you know, which I shouldn't be preaching because I find it hard to limit certain things myself. But it's just this idea of like, don't eat meat every day. That's crazy. That would have been crazy 200 years ago, 100 years, you know.
But okay.
It's
but
only possible because of this thing, huh?
But eat it sometimes.
There's certain situations. When I was in Norway, I really had no problem with that.
No.
You hunt moose. It feeds your family for the full year. You went out once. You got all this meat. You dry it. You prepare it. You got to take the animal carcass. You got to do all this stuff. It's a ton of work. It's blah, blah, blah. I have zero problems with that. It feels very natural to me, honestly. Right? And up there, a meat diet is probably more ethical than getting a bunch of fruits and veggies in that sense, because it's like, well, there's not a lot of farmland up there. I mean, what are you going to... I mean, it feels more natural there to do that.
So yeah, I heard you talk about that. So you're saying that
I don't know enough about it, so I shouldn't. Okay, fine. I shouldn't really.
But I just didn't get it because of the whole idea of, well, it takes less space to farm plants than it does to farm animals.
But you're not farming. Like you're not farming. I think it's maybe what I would expect.
But if animals live in nature,
yeah, and there's less people there, I think it's a situation of just it's not a shit ton of people that you need to feed. But I'm just saying there's different situations for different, you know. That's I mean, where was I coming from? Limiting everything and limitation a little bit, you know. Because like I said, even it's like, again, I don't know enough about it to say anything, but I'm sure avocados, there's some sketchy shit going on because everyone eats avocados. How the fuck are we getting all these avocados in Denmark? And fucking everybody our age eats avocado. And it's like, okay, you know, it's just, I don't know, maybe mentally you think, I just won't buy avocados every day because it just can't be good. There's just no. You should
research it. You bring that example up all the time.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, it'd be kind of good to be able to say, like, well, there's this big impact on people in this country because you're buying avocados every day.
Right, but it's sort of a broader thing of like any food that becomes trendy, I think is just going to be negative for the environment. So my thing is like, we'll just limit the things, you know, try to circle a lot of different foods and I've been going to the grocery store now off of another thing that I've been trying to do and like buy something that I don't usually, just to switch it up a little bit, you know, that I'm not always reaching for the same shit because I think it's, you know, probably, I mean, it's got to be healthier or whatever. And it's, you're just having a little bit more.
But I guess like with animal products, you know that someone is at the other end of that. It's not I'm sure there's got to be someone who's affected by the avocados. There's definitely someone who's affected by the cheese.
I agree. I don't think it's one or the,
So it's like that one's there. I mean, everyone knows that came from an animal.
But again, I don't have a problem with farming per se. I have a problem with factory farming. And factory farming is something where you're eating it every day. And I would say if everyone limited their consumption of animal products to special occasions or like special treats and stuff, I don't have a problem with it. Again, I think farming's something we've done for thousands of years. But I do see a massive problem with it when it comes to trying to feed everybody who's eating animal products for 3 meals a day. And it's like, yeah, I would totally agree and say that's unnecessary and unhealthy.
Yeah. I mean, we could keep talking about this.
It's fun.
Forever.
Yeah.
The thing about the once in a while that gets me is the idea of like, well, let's say in a week, for example, that you don't eat meat 6 days a week. On the 7th day, you eat beef.
Yeah.
Or anything. That's
sure.
meat. It's like, so on this, so it's not okay. It's not good to pay for animals to be killed in really horrible conditions 6 days a week and to pollute the environment those 6 days. But on the 7th day, it's okay to do that because it's a treat and it makes you feel good.
Yes.
It's like I can't get behind that.
Right, because I think
like
you're all very much like all or nothing.
Yeah, but it's
Either
like
I do this or I don't do
you
this.
possibly justify that in without just straight up I just don't care about it that much. And it comes down to I just care more about having for tasting good and having a fun time once a week than I care about that animal. Yeah.
Right, but it's not a. That's my whole thing with like smoking a cigarette.
But a cigarette
Is that
doesn't
worth
involve something dying.
like lung cancer? I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, I guess
Right.
you get.
So you have that. You know that.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
You don't know
And I'm
for
saying
sure.
there's
right?
other things.
Doesn't that make a difference? You don't know for sure that you're going to get lung cancer.
Yeah, and I think that
You know
maybe
for sure that an animal was killed to get you that meat. I mean, that's not a question.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So there's that feeling. If you start to like justify it in your head, well, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to be the one who gets cancer. I'm just going to enjoy the fun part of it, which I can see. And
Yeah.
that makes sense because it's not 100% that you're going to be affected.
I'm
by
just saying not all my decisions are logical. There's some are just based on, like, yeah, life is.
No.
I think so. At least that's where I stand now.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad we talked about it.
Good. Had you been thinking about that for a while?
Yeah.
Glad you brought it up then.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, specifically from the realm of like, why am I like afraid to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm not.
'Cause
I should say, it doesn't bother me.
I really don't like making people feel uncomfortable. But then I also talk about like, well, sometimes uncomfortable conversations are the best thing
Right.
for both people.
Right.
It's
Right.
Like the goal shouldn't always be to just like, what's a little uncomfortable thing to be thinking about. There might be something good that comes out of it.
Why didn't you bring it up with Espen?
Well, because
I felt the energy ricochet off of you.
He's not a stranger. He's not. I think there's you gotta be on in a moment like that, for example, where that wasn't what we were talking about. It was something that was brought in as an example for something totally different that he was discussing. He was talking about living what you preach. And so he was talking about being a vegetarian.
He got quite passionate.
Yeah, and
he's
he's
like,
passionate
this
about
is
the
gonna make
environment. Exactly. And then he happened to bring that in as a different
I see.
example of contradicting his thing. So for me to have gone like, well, I think that's wrong, is suddenly me attacking him a little bit in that moment, because I'm saying, well, you're claiming to be living what you preach by being a vegetarian, by caring about the environment, but really in that moment you didn't. I mean, that's then it becomes like more about like you're wrong in that moment than about talking about the issue at hand.
Yeah.
I would talk about it
if
we talked about sustainability, or if we're talking about going into depth about what it means to like what
Yeah.
we eat and stuff.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then when I said Espen's not a stranger, that's not what I meant. I meant like, yeah, I meant what I just said. But there's also like I guess you don't want to come across straight away as being someone who's ready to point out things that you may be doing wrong. I feel like you gotta get to know someone a little bit first and build some rapport and some trust before you start talking about things that you maybe don't agree with what they're doing. I mean, that's pretty intense.
Let's not disagree. I thought maybe you would have gone like, well, why aren't you vegan?
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, fair enough.
But that's actually one of the questions I had for him that I never got to. But was this like, obviously, some of his actions, we shouldn't talk about him without him here, but I'm sure he wouldn't care. Some of his actions don't 100% align with teachings, right?
Yeah.
He's making some. I know he smokes a couple cigarettes here and there as well. I was curious on him to be like, well, that's kind of a there's non-binary part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say he is practicing what he preaches.
Yes.
With a few tiny exceptions that are what it is to be human.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would be curious what his sort of thought on that would be.
Next podcast with him, we'll ask.
Yeah. Got everything? Yes. Oh, I had that one random one. I'll save that for next time.
Okay.
And we'll see you next week on the Burning Boat Show. I'm sure we said Burning Boat Business at the beginning.
Damn it, we did.